Hello all, welcome back to another interesting story under the Ajadi Kamrat Mahotsav story series by Mommy Showmans. Today I'm going to introduce you to one interesting queen who, despite being living in the ancient medieval Indian history, has displayed modern thinking and stood against the evils of the society that were plaguing the Indian society at that point of time. Want to know more details? Join me in my journey to 15th century, my dear friends. I'm going to introduce you to Jauhar Queen Rani Jawhar Bhai from the Mewar region. Uh, I want to tell you one thing. For any history or story, the story from the historical books to make sense to you, you need to ask four questions, which is what, when, why, and how. When we all know, most of the historians will tell us with all the dates. And if you had observed in my story series, I was not concentrating on the years of the time or the timings when this has actually happened, but we're trying to draw out the emotions on the what, why, and how part, so that these three are the most important questions which any student of history should ask, so that we can draw life lessons from these stories and then map it to the current day modern society. So in the similar manner, let us first talk about little bit background about that's happening in the 15th century in Mewar region. Mewar region was being ruled by Sanga, Maha Rana Sanga, who is known as the fiercest king at that point of time in the Indian history, right? We all know his battles with Lodi, Babur, and all. In fact, he has lost the battle in 1524 with Babur, and he's made a decision or an oath to himself that he will return back to Chittorgarh fort only if he conquers Babur once again. So he started planning for his next attack on Babur, and that is when some of the Rajputans have actually poisoned him and killed him, so that they felt that attacking Babur next time is a most serious thing that one can do in his life, and that is how. The Chittorgarh reigns have fallen down on Rani Karmavati's shoulders. Rani Karmavati is the wife of Maha Rana Sanga, and she has two children from Maha Rana Sanga. One is Vikramjit, who is a teenager boy, and Uday Singh. Vikramjit was already married, but he, as a typical spoiled Rajput prince, he's most careless, and he's not at all brave, and he's not at all like willing to take any risk. And he's always got used to living in luxury, in spending time in leisure. So, I mean, when and Uday Singh is a very small prince at that point of time. When the reigns of Chittorgarh fort fell on Maharani Karmavati Devi, she asked help from other Rajput kings who were surrounding the Chittorgarh fort, because she got the news that Bahadur Shah from Gujarat is trying to is planning for an attack on Chittorgarh fort, so that he can get Chittorgarh also under his control. And but the other Rajput kings surrounding Mewar region had told that unless she sends away Vikramjit Singh from the Chittorgarh fort, because they couldn't tolerate his boyishness or foolhardiness, you can call. So only when she sends away Vikramjit Singh out of Mewar, they will help her. And Rani Karmavati had agreed to that and sent Vikramjit away from the fort along with Uday Singh. And she's given the control of Uday Singh to her nursing lady, or we call it as Panna Dai. And she asked Panna Dai to take care of Uday Singh in case of something happens to her, because Uday Singh will be the heir of Mewar at any given point of time. And Panna Dai had, in fact, acted very bravely and replaced Uday Singh on one day, when in the when the people from the royal court tried killing him because they wanted to become the heir of, the next king of Mewar. She replaced Uday Singh with her own son and sent Uday Singh in a basket of waste clothes out of the Chittorgarh fort to some other region where he could get the shelter, and then he came back and took the reins of Chittorgarh fort at a later point of time. So that is excellent. The way, one small common lady who is a nursing lady for the Rajput princesses has shown her dedication towards motherland and towards the royal family. Then comes Bahadur Shah, who has already started invading the Mewar region, and he has started approaching Chittorgarh fort by that time. Then Rani Karmavati Devi sent Rakhi to Humayun because she knew Humayun is the biggest enemy of Bahadur Shah. So she thought that in case if she sends Rakhi to Humayun, people Humayun might come and save her and her kingdom, and that way she can live happily. But Humayun, by the time Humayun returned, got the Rakhi and came to the Mewar, things have already gone out of the shape. This is one part of the story which historians try to talk about more about Rani Karmavati, but some other historians say that no, she hasn't sent any rocket to Humayun. This is a disputable fact which people have to only prove. And who will prove it? Only the people who lived at that point of time, right? But then comes a twist, and this is where our main protagonist of today's story enters. I told you, right? Vikramjit is a teenage boy, and he was already married, and his wife's name is Jauhar Bhai. The moment Rani Karmavati got to know that Humayun is not coming to Chittor to save her, she has asked all her palace people to set up the Jauhar Well. You all know about the famous Jauhar Well from the Rani Padmavat movie, isn't it? The people lit a fire from the down, which is 2 stories down below, and all the ladies from the royal court will fall down into the hugely lit fire. But here, as I told you, Rani Jawahari Bhai enters and she talks to Queen Mother, saying like unnecessity of this evil. She says that we have to die anyway, and you are trying to sacrifice yourself by falling down into a big pit of fire, which is not necessary. Instead, take a sword and go and fight with the enemy and prove yourself your love for the motherland and fight with the enemy. And in case what if you win the battle, you might rule the kingdom. If you're going to lose the battle, you can kill yourself on the battlefield without getting captured to the enemy. We should be having that dedication in our minds. Hearing that, the Queen Mother Rani Karmavati said, "No, I cannot take that chance because I am a royal princess and I know how to use this word." But most of the common people in Mewar region, the common women, might not know how to use this word and they might not know any battle strategies. So we cannot put all these ladies at risk. For that, Rani Jawahari Bhai spoke to all the people assembled to participate in Johar at that point of time. Said like all the brave women. I'm translating it from Hindi to you all for the convenience. All the brave women who are assembled here. Do you love your motherland more than yourself? I mean, by participating in Johar doesn't mean that you are satisfying your womanhood, and you are basically you are kind of safeguarding your womanhood, safeguarding your sanity. But what about motherland? What about the children, our children who are going to live in this motherland after we commit our sati? Do you think we need to worry about their future? Instead of jumping in the fire well, why can't we go out and fight with the enemy out in the open? And some people said it seems that we don't know fighting, sword fighting. I mean, if we have a determination, whether you know sword fighting or you don't know sword fighting, doesn't matter. It's only the mind which wins the battles. As long as you decide in your mind that yes, you can fight with the enemy, you can definitely wage a war with the enemy. Are you prepared for facing the enemy in the battlefield, or are you really scarecrows as picturized by so many generations that women are not capable of doing anything and going to jump into the fire well? Hearing her speech, some of the women got converted. I mean, basically they felt like liberated, and they felt that yes, they need to prove them about themselves, not only to themselves but also to the society that women are not the weaklings. So they said, yes, we will join you as a in the battle with Bahadur Shah. That is when all these women folks have dressed in the male attire, captured the swords, captured the bow and arrows, whatever the ammunition that is available at that point of time, and went to the battlefield. But other people who really couldn't make up their mind jumped along into the fire well along with Rani Karmavati. All around 800 people accompanied Rani Jawahari Bhai into the battlefield with Bahadur Shah, and they were killing a lot of people from the enemy side. And Bahadur Shah's first army battalion didn't know who is this new army battalion that has come out from the Chittorgarh fort, because they felt that Chittorgarh fort is already in their hands the moment they saw the Jauhar Well fire. Because history, or I mean, already there are so many stories about Jauhar Well fire and how people commit themselves, sacrifice themselves in the Jauhar Wells, isn't it? So the moment they saw the fire in the Jauhar Well, Bahadur Shah Army Battalion knew that Chittorgarh fort is already in their hands. But they didn't expect this surprise, my dear friends. A new wave of army battalion had come down and started slaying them left, right, and center in the army battlefield. And these people are coming on the horses, are coming by the walk, and taking these enemies by surprise. The battle continued for one more day. Of course, at the end, these people lost their war. It's not the war status that matters for us in this here part story of the history. What matters is how one woman's modern thinking has changed the minds of almost 800 odd women, and how they went and met the what should I say? There are cunning army battalions from Bahadur Shah who are already trained in battle skills, who know the military skills, who can wage wars with cunning, other brave warriors. These people are not trained, except Rani Jawhar Bhai. Other people are like common people like us, but they felt when the need comes, a woman can also prove herself and she can fight. Isn't it a wonderful lesson that we all have to keep in mind and carry it even today? Most of us think that women are weaklings. Of course, there is a new thing saying feminism that started coming up, saying we are equal to everybody and we do everything. But what about so many rapes, so many other things that are happening in the modern society? Because people think we are weak. But remember, in 15th century, Rani Jawhar Bhai proved that women cannot be called as weaklings. They also have the will of iron power or iron will in their minds, and their hearts can also be made of steel. So this is one of the most important life lessons I think we need to carry forward to the future generations. And unfortunately, Queen Jauhari Bai's history is not repeated or not enlarged and projected to us. But whereas we all get to hear about Rani Karmavati who had come to Johar, or Rani Padmavat who had come to Johar, and the person who had come to Johar, you all know that Chittorgarh had faced three Johars, right? But what about Rani Jawhar Bhai? She's the one who needs to be idolized and worshipped, but so that the woman in India at least can get more and more power based on her actions, based on her after listening to her story. What do you think? Please let me know your comments. I'll come and meet you next day. Tomorrow with another interesting story. Till then, bye bye.